Never think in terms of next year. I'm kind of like a day at a time. We just don't take we just don't take life for granted like we used to, because anything can happen. You're skating along, everything is fine in your life, you feel good, and the next thing you know, you find a mole on your child's back, and you're told it's malignant melanoma. Or you find a little lump in your breast like I did, and they said, oh, it's nothing, you're too young. And then you hear those dreaded words, you have cancer. And once you've been told that you've had cancer, your life is never the same. Your world is just shattered, and you think that you're not going to be able to go on, but something kicks in, and you start going to the doctors, and you start having the tests, and the scans, and the blood tests, and the surgeries, and the treatments, and then you realize, I have a pretty strong sense of survival, and I'm going to kick this, and I'm going to make this. But again, your life is never the same. An ache or pain can't just be an ache or pain. It has to be some sort of malignancy somewhere in your body. And again, I don't know for Rick, because Rick and I have had very different experiences. We're both cancer survivors. Rick calls himself a warrior, and I love that. I love that word. But I know for me, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, people sympathize and they feel badly for you and they're there for you, but nobody really knows what it's like. And you look into the eyes of another woman that has been diagnosed with breast cancer, and she doesn't have to tell you what she's going through, you just feel it. And I'm sure it's very similar for Rick. Our stories are different, and I can't feel or really know what Rick has been going through or what goes through his mind on his journey. But we're so privileged and blessed to have Rick, our warrior survivor guest speaker, Rick Franzo, here with us again tonight with his beautiful family. And I'd like to introduce him and let him tell us about his journey.
Good afternoon. How are we all doing today? Thank you for coming out for this great cause. Give yourselves all a big hand for coming out here. What a great event, 4th annual. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I was here last year for the first time, and there were a lot of people. This place is wall to wall. It's pretty incredible. What I wanted to start out with was a couple of facts that are brand new for 2013 on brain tumors. And some of the facts are pretty amazing. I have them on paper, so I apologize. I haven't committed them to memory yet. But I want to let you know, if you don't know much about brain tumors, and really I didn't know much until I was diagnosed, but we'll get to my story in a couple minutes, is that brain tumors, they do not discriminate against age, gender, ethnicity, what your socioeconomic status is. So everybody in this room is a potential candidate to have a brain tumor. And I'm sorry to tell you that, a lot of people do have brain tumors in this area and throughout the United States. Primary brain tumors, that's brain tumors that start in the brain and they are in no other part of the body. They occur in people of all ages, but statistically are more frequent in children and in older people. Now, brain tumors are actually the second leading cause of cancer-causing deaths of children under 20. Only leukemia is #1, and that's a brand new figure. Actually, brain tumors were #1, but it's kind of flip-flopping now between brain tumors and leukemia. Also, the second leading cause of cancer-causing deaths in males 20 to 39, again, leukemia is first. And the 5th leading cause of cancer-related deaths in females from 20 to 39. There's an estimated 69,700 primary cases of brain tumors expected to be diagnosed this year alone. That's brand new cases, over 69,700. And in this year, approximately 4,300 children are going to be diagnosed with a primary brain tumor. 3,050 rather, sorry, brain injury. They're going to be under the age of 15. It's estimated during 2010 that there were 688,000 plus people living in the United States with a primary brain tumor. Now, secondary brain tumors are metastatic. Those are the ones that begin as cancer elsewhere in the body and metastasize, and I think we all know that. But it was pretty baffling to find out the fact that lung cancer and breast cancer are actually the cancers that metastasize into the brain the most. And actually, brain tumors that metastasize are actually more prevalent than primary brain tumors. And that was a fact that I just learned, and I was pretty blown away about. about. But I want to conclude this part of it before I get to my story from a friend of mine, Charlotte Lee Smith Cardgill. She lives in Alabama. She is a brain tumor survivor. Roll Tide, I had to say that for her. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor, cancerous, 4 years ago. The average median survival rate for that tumor was 18 months, and she's still going 4 years strong. So, you know, fantastic, Charlotte, and all the brain tumor survivors. Carmen right here that's standing in the front with the dark hair. She has the same type of a brain tumor that I had and have, and that's a meningioma. And, you know, this girl has gone through a lot, and she's had fantastic support. And her brain tumor, actually, she found out a week ago, is shrinking. So please, a big round, you know, definite survivor right here. Carmen right in front of us. You know, there's a lot of good stories, but I'm going to be showing you that there is hope with brain tumors. And now, a little bit about my story. In 2009, I was playing horseshoes at a barbecue, and out of nowhere, I couldn't throw halfway to the pin. Half of the time when I threw it would go to the left, and so I was figuring, what the hell is going on here? And I found out that when I went to my doctor, he sent me to a neurologist who sent me for medical tests and physical tests, and showed that my left side and my right side were very weak on my body. So they took me for an MRI. And they called me the next day, less than 10 hours later, and they told me the stunning news that I had a brain tumor. There was a neurosurgeon from a larger hospital in the area. I had a 1 o'clock appointment and be there. And my world just collapsed. I just put my head in my hands and I said, I'm dead. I'm not going to make it until Christmas. I didn't know if I'd get to see my daughter, who's right here now, Amanda. She was 10 at the time, 11, and I didn't know if I'd get the chance to see her grow up and to be there to protect her and to teach her. And so it just devastated me. I had to go home and I had to tell my wife. But before that, on the way home, when a guy is in trouble, what does he do? He calls his mom. So my first call was to my mother to tell her that I had a brain tumor. And I told her I needed her to come to the doctor with my wife and I. She said, I'll be to the house in 5 minutes. And of course she was. And so she could have been 100 miles away. She still would have been to my house in 5 minutes. So I went to the doctor. He informed me that what I had was a meningioma. It's a fairly benign, and I'm going to talk about benign in a moment, which is only characterizing non-cancerous, but a benign brain tumor is actually very, very invasive. Mine was invasive because at the barbecue, it hit critical mass, which meant that it crushed my brain down as far as it could go, and it pushed my skull up 4.5 centimeters. So actually, when I got my head shaved, I looked like Aykroyd as a cone head, and that's the truth, and I did. And he said that had I not been diagnosed, I would have actually died within 2 weeks. I would have either had a grand mal seizure or just slipped into a coma that I never would have came out of. And so I was told that I was going to have surgery, that I would have to have 2 teams of neurosurgeons in my head. They initially told me the surgery was going to be 6 hours, but in reality it was much longer. And I asked them, I said, what are my chances of survival? They said, we're 95% sure that you're going to survive the surgery. I said, well, how am I going to come out? They said, we don't know. I said, okay, fair enough. Nobody was lying to me. So I went in for the surgery, and obviously I survived. I kept my cognitive abilities. I recognized people right away. But it actually, at the barbecue, it was a cue that it was hurting my motor skills, and I actually came out paralyzed from the waist down. And this was in 2009. I saw a couple of people look down at my legs. Yes, I'm standing on my own 2 legs. And so I went through 6 weeks of rehab at Good Shepherd Rehab over, actually 2 blocks from here over in East Stroudsburg, and months of outpatient rehab. But as things started to connect and hook back up, I actually started to walk again. And my goal when I went into rehab was to walk out in under my own power. And they really didn't believe it. They said, you know, okay, well, that's a lofty goal. And in 6 weeks, I did walk out with leg braces and a walker. And thank you. I was very happy about that. Also, during the surgery, they couldn't save my skull. So where I'm showing you right here, it's not my real skull, it's all titanium. But I mean, as you can see, I'm still very pretty. So I mean, it didn't do anything for my good looks. So, you know, I'm still very photogenic. And, you know, they also told me that I wouldn't set off any alarms. So to test that theory, went to the U.S. Capitol in Washington, and that was a lie, because I got the attention of 6 very large, heavily armed men, explained my story. They were okay with it. They said that's fine. So actually, I went back for subsequent MRIs. And in February of 2011, unfortunately, I was diagnosed with another brain tumor. And I've had MRIs since then, and it's remaining stable, so it's behaving itself. And I hate coexisting with it. My goal is to just beat the hell out of it and get it out of there. And but, you know, I have to do what I have to do. And, you know, there's always hope. There's always hope. And I want to take a quote from Charlotte that she shared with me earlier that kind of sums it up. And it says, brain tumors do not discriminate, and they don't. They don't have to be malignant to be deadly. Now, malignant only shows their cancerous features, but mine was non-malignant and came close to killing me, and does the same for so many other people. They're very invasive. There is no known cure for primary brain tumors, nor is there any kind of reason why they happen, and we haven't found a cure yet. And that means a cure is on the way. And an event like this is very, very important for raising the money for research, so that we can figure out why these things happen, why they touch so many people, why they touch so many children. We have no idea why, but you know what? With events like this and the research that they're doing at Johns Hopkins that Megan was just talking about, we're going to find out why these happen. And there's so many people that are going through journeys that are unbelievable, and I have had the privilege and honor to share a lot of them. And you know what? There's always hope. And that's the message for today, that even though it seems like a death sentence, there's always hope. And I want to thank everybody for coming here today. Again, I'm honored and privileged to be speaking here again this year. And I hope everybody has a good time and enjoy the beer and the good food. And, you know, thank God for Johns Hopkins and places like that. And thank God for Melon's gift that actually supports that, and Beth Moses and everybody that's involved with that. And I want to thank you all very much. Have a great day.